Hey, it's Mike Cambright with FlipNerd.com, and welcome back for another exciting VIP interview where I interview some of the most successful real estate investing experts and entrepreneurs and those that serve us in the industry to help you learn and grow. Today, I'm joined by attorney Jeff Lairman of Lerman Law Partners, where Jeff specializes in helping real estate investors in many different ways, from entity formation to estate planning, litigation, and everything in between. Today, we're going to discuss how to do more deals. A lot of real estate investors don't do more deals because they're missing some component of getting more deals done, and Jeff has a ton of experience to help us in this space. Before we get started, though, let's take a moment to recognize our featured sponsors. RealtyMogul.com is an online marketplace for real estate investing, connecting borrowers and capital from accredited and institutional investors. Get a rehab loan fast and close in as little as 10 days. Rates start as low as 9%. We'd also like to thank National Real Estate Insurance Group, the nation's leading provider of insurance to the residential real estate investor market. From individual properties to large-scale investors, National Real Estate Insurance Group is ready to serve you. Please note, the views and opinions expressed by the individuals in this program do not necessarily reflect those of FlipNerd.com or any of its partners, advertisers, or affiliates. Please consult professionals before making any investment or tax decisions, as real estate investing can be risky. Hey, Jeff, welcome to the show.
Hi. Thank you.
Glad you're here.
Sure.
So a number of what a lot of folks don't know is a few other guests that we've had on the show recommended that we talk to you because you're their real estate attorney and work with them in one way or another, and you came highly recommended, so we appreciate you being here today.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, and a lot of folks for real estate that are real estate investors, they see the legal side as maybe a necessary evil. So, but there's a lot of ways that you can enable people through your network and through your knowledge to do more deals for sure. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah, it's just, as I'm sure you know, one of the first things in investing 101 is building a team. Absolutely. And on your team, you definitely need to have a lawyer as well as a CPA and other people, but it's getting the right lawyer can really be an important part of achieving your real estate goals.
There's no doubt about that, and it's so much easier if you have those relationships built up front than when something happens and you didn't have that person there to protect you up front.
Right, and the other thing besides being a real estate lawyer is I'm also an investor myself, and so I chose to focus our practice. We branded ourselves as a real estate investor's lawyer because this is the kind of client we want to work with. We understand investors. We've been there, right there beside them in when they're doing deals, and we know what it's like to be under the gun, and we really can talk their talk and relate to their frustrations and their hopes and aspirations. So this is the business that we want to be in as lawyers, and so that's I think one of the things that people get when they come to us is a lawyer who uniquely understands what they're going through from a business standpoint. And I think
absolutely.
That's important.
Well, Jeff, for those that don't know you, why don't you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about you and about your firm?
Sure. So we have been doing this. I've been doing this real estate law for over 30 years. And started our firm about 20 years ago. And as I said, we branded ourselves as the real estate investor's lawyer. They can see our website, realestateinvestorlaw.com. There's a lot of free resources for investors on our website, articles and free reports that will help you do your business. And we also do estate planning and litigation and transactions. We represent clients all over the country. In transactions, and in California we represent clients in all transactions, litigation, and also estate planning. Okay. We basically help investors through the entire cycle of ownership, from initial real estate due diligence to purchase and sale agreements, loan documentation, entity formation, syndication, asset protection, and loans. I think I mentioned that, construction and partnerships, joint ventures, and litigation disputes as they may arise in connection with all of those aspects of the cycle of real estate ownership. So that's who we are. That's what we do. I'm past president of our county bar association. I'm past chair of the California State Bar Real Property Litigation Section, and former chair of our county Real Property Section. I have been recognized as a super lawyer last year. That's an organization where you are elected, nominated, recognized as a super lawyer by your peers. We've received the highest rating possible for ethics and competency by Martindale-Hubbell. We're AV rated. And we also have the highest rating possible on AVO. We have 10 out of 10, superb. So that's a little bit about who we are.
Yeah, it sounds like you guys are very capable, obviously. So, well, talk a little bit about the topic we want to talk about today is joint ventures. I know you have a lot of experience putting together joint ventures, partnering with them yourselves, even yourself. But talk a little bit about, and to clarify, you focus pretty heavily, at least yourself individually, on a multifamily. Is that correct?
Right. I mean, that's my preferred investment vehicle. I like multifamily, but everything that we do, we work with investors who are investing in everything from single family to storage to medical, office, retail, everything. So that does make sense.
Sure.
I think you and I spoke a little bit before we got on today, and we were talking, trying to figure out what is the topic that I think I can give you today that would help the greatest audience, and I think this is it. I think that everybody, what we're seeing right now is, as of the date of this interview, the economy, knock on wood, is still in a good place. I think we've got a couple of years left where I personally believe this is the best time to be buying real estate that I'll probably see for the rest of my life, and it's great. I mean, with interest rates where they are and the growth cycle where it is in most markets, it's a great time to buy. But notwithstanding that, everybody that I know, including myself, could achieve your real estate investing goals faster with somebody else. For me, my personal biggest challenge is time. I've got a practice here that I maintain, and although I've got capital that I can invest, trying to find that needle in the haystack takes a lot of time. You have to sift through a lot of deals to find the one that makes sense. So for me, the last joint venture that I did, I joint ventured with somebody who found a deal, but they needed the capital, so I brought the money to the deal. I'm looking very aggressively right now for other joint venture possibilities where people have good deals and they need a sponsor or money to get the deal, sponsor and or money to get the deal done. So maybe somebody who can sign on the loan, or somebody who can bring the money, or both of those things. But that's just me. I mean, there are people, investors. Maybe what you need, if you're an investor, the thing that's holding you back is you need more money. Maybe you don't have the expertise. Maybe you want to do development deals and you need a developer to joint venture with. Maybe you are trying to do deals in an area where you don't live, and so you need somebody who's got boots on the ground there, whatever it happens to be. And joint ventures are, to distinguish joint ventures from syndications, joint ventures is where you have two or more people coming together who are actively involved in the deal, where somebody is not just giving you their money, where they are actively involved in the deal. This joint venture that I did a couple months ago, even though I brought the money to the deal, I'm actively involved in the deal. We're on calls all the time. I'm very actively involved in decision making. So just because your main contribution is money doesn't mean that you can't also be actively involved as long as you document.
Right. So Jeff, I know there's a million flavors that a joint venture could possibly look like. Why don't you share some of the most typical structures of, you probably have it's fairly common, we have some money partners, you have somebody that finds the deal. Just talk about kind of for folks that are looking to use your advice here as a way to get started, talk about some of the most typical roles that they might play.
So probably the most common vanilla joint venture structure is where you have one person, let's call them the sweat equity partner, and then you have the other person who is the money partner. And that sweat equity partner could be a contractor, maybe doing fix and flips, or it could be a scenario where you've got somebody, again, who has put all the time and effort into finding a deal, and but what they need is the money. They have the money partner. That's probably the most common. And the structure in those deals is typically comprised of a few different components. First, there is typically a preferred return given to the hard money in the deal, the hard dollars in the deal. And so the preferred return is the money that comes out before the other money is distributed. So, and a preferred return typically is anywhere between, say, 7% and 10%. 8% is probably the most common pref or preferred return that we see out there, but it's flexible, it's negotiable.
Yeah.
And so, and then in addition to preferred return, you have to decide, is it going to be cumulative, and is it going to be, or non-cumulative, and compounded or non-compounded. And cumulative means that if the deal doesn't throw off enough money to pay that preferred return in any particular year, do you lose it for that year, or does it just go over to the next year? So let's say in year one, let's say you and I, Mike, are doing a deal, okay? Let's say you found the deal, I'm the money guy, okay? And let's say the deal, and you're giving me an 8% pref. So if in year one there's only enough cash flow to pay me a 4% pref, so the deal's going to pay me 4% in year one, but in year two, I'm going to get 8% pref plus the 4% slop over from year one. Does that make sense?
Sure, absolutely, yeah.
So that's cumulative, and that's pretty common, but it's negotiable. It could be non-cumulative, which is just the opposite of what I said. You don't get it in year one, forget it. It's gone. Yeah. The other compounded versus non-compounded, which is that if you don't have enough money in a particular year to pay the pref, does that shortfall get added to do you accumulate interest on that shortfall? So in year two, do I get 8% on my initial investment, or do I get 8% on my initial investment plus that 4% shortfall from year one? So those are the two main related issues when it comes to preferred. The other is profit-loss split. What's the profit-loss split going to be? And that can be anywhere from a 50-50 all the way up to a 90-10, where the bigger number is going to the hard money person. It's very unusual, and I certainly wouldn't do it, to see a scenario where the hard money partner gets less than 50% of the deal. And it depends. You break it down. It depends how much the investor is doing. Is the investor going to be the sponsor, meaning are they going to be the only one who gets the loan, signs on the loan? If so, they're going to get an additional percentage for that. But it's also going to be a factor of really how big the pie is, what the profits are.
Right.
So if, for example, in a joint venture, when I do a joint venture, my rule of thumb for me is I like to be able to double my hard dollar investment, at least based on a pro forma, within 4 years, meaning that if I come in with, let's just say $1 million, I want, not necessarily saying that we're going to sell the property in 4 years, but I want to be able to see on a realistic pro forma that if we did sell within 4 years, that I would get a double of that investment within 4 years.
Sure.
So an average annual return, forget IRR, internal rate of return for now, let's keep it simple.
Yeah.
An average annual return on investment of 25%. Those deals are out there. They're hard to find, but they're out there. The deal I did a couple months ago has that kind of return.
Sure.
So it is, and just to go back to what I just said, if you as my partner, Mike, if you have a deal that's fat enough, the pie's big enough, where you can get 50% of the deal and still give me what I want, God bless you, let's do that deal.
Right.
But if your deal's thinner, then you may have to give up more. Maybe you got to give me 80% to get my 25 to get what I want. And that really ultimately is a big picture thing that you always have to think about in partnerships is how can you make sure each partner is getting what they want? Because at the end of the day, this is a business marriage.
Yeah. So Jeff, talk a little bit about where if you're the type of person that wants to find deals, go out and hustle and earn that sweat equity, how do you find money partners? And if the other way around, if you're a money partner and you're looking for, your issue is time or geography or whatever it might be, how do you find, especially if there's a geography difference involved,
Right.
how do each of you find that partner?
Great question. So the most typical way that people find money partners is friends and family. It just is. That's just in the industry. That's a truth, and for good reason, obviously. I mean, they're right within your sphere of influence. They know, like, and trust you, and so that is always going to be the low-hanging fruit that your go-to that you should try. And I'm going to put a big caveat here that philosophically, if you're thinking about doing this, you need to really think long and hard about what your philosophy is about doing business with family and friends. Because when you introduce money into that relationship, that can ruin a relationship.
Absolutely, yeah.
And so I have friends who we have talked about investing, and they said, you know what, my philosophy is that I don't want to do business with friends. Let's keep the money out of the relationship. No right or wrong answer here. It's just something that is important for you personally to decide upon. Make sure that you have that kind of discussion with your relative or friend, that they're thinking about it as well.
Right.
And then you just need to make sure that you understand that when you're doing business with family or friends, you got to be super careful about handling everything. You're always going to be careful anyway. If I'm investing, if I'm bringing friends and family into a deal, I'm always going to be so much more concerned about losing their money than my own.
Sure, absolutely.
And but you're going to be that way with any other investor. But obviously, when you're dealing with friends and family, it just increases that sensitivity.
Yeah, you spend holidays together. Yeah. So, lots of things could go wrong.
Friends and family are a good way to go. After there's a whole other category of strategies that you can use, and the most common ones out there, and I'm not the first one to suggest these, this is common knowledge actually. Real estate investment associations are great, if you're looking and build relationships that way. There are some great networking events that are going on out there. There's somebody out there, Dave Lindahl. I don't know if you've heard of Dave.
I interviewed Dave. Yeah, Dave's. I just interviewed Dave last week. So.
Oh, did you?
Yeah,
okay.
Absolutely.
So I have been to a lot of events. I think Dave's got some of the best networking events. He's going to be having one actually in August in Boston. I'm going to be going to that one. I found my last deal at his networking event a few months back, and so I'm a believer, and I'm going to actually be speaking on this topic at that event.
Okay, great.
In greater detail. But I've been to a lot of networking events, and I think Dave fills the room with great, people who are really doing deals. So I think, for my personal experience, I think that is a great forum for you to go to find like-minded individuals. Not just like-minded individuals, but those who are actually doing deals. I've been disappointed by a lot of RIAs I've been to where there's a lot of people who show up, but they're not actually doing deals, or the deals they're doing are kind of small. I'm looking to do larger deals. I'm looking for deals of a couple hundred units and whatnot. So, or at least 100 units. So, you got to go to those larger areas. People were doing larger deals to try to find those kind of relationships. Yeah. So, there are a lot of other ways you can go about trying to find people with money. Go to networking groups, business networking groups. I think all of those are a little bit, for me, a lot slower track. You gotta to find people at those groups who are interested in investing in real estate deals and investing in the kind of deals that you're going to do. I think it might be a longer process from the point of meeting to the point of getting them to invest in your deal. I think that's going to be a bit of a longer process. So if you want to fast track it to go to an event where there are people that are just apartment investors, if you want to do apartment deals, I think that's the fast track method. That's
sure. And Jeff, for a lot of times, the money partner in a deal, well, you know this more than me. Probably it's fairly often that person, given that their big issue is time, is that they don't want to have to babysit a project either. So talk a little bit about what some common structures for who's making decisions on that partnership, whether it be choosing the property management company or kind of just overall managing the property management company, because, let's face it, it's nearly impossible to truly be passive in real estate investing, regardless of what anybody says. But talk about how to structure those and what typical roles look like.
Yeah, and by the way, before I answer the question, I also want to mention Charlie Dobbins. He also does some great educational events like Lindahl. And he got very serious-minded people there, some great networking, and I've been at his events as well. So seek him out as well.
Yeah, he's been on the show, and he's an example of somebody that actually chooses. He has an internal management company, right? He manages everything himself, I believe. So that's one more point is how do you determine who's going to play what role in a joint venture?
Okay, so it's a negotiation, and that is going to depend on the skill sets of each of the people involved. In our particular situation, in my situation, I don't like to micromanage, but until I get comfortable that my partner has the skills necessary to protect my investment, they've got to earn my trust, and it's going to take a certain amount of time. It could be as short as a 1-hour meeting, or it could be as long as one entire deal. Hopefully it's somewhere right around 60 to 90 days of actual working with somebody enough in a large enough variety of issues and situations to get really comfortable.
Yeah.
That's just me, but I think that typically what you see is in the scenario we got the sweat equity person and the money partner, where the sweat equity person hopefully is going to be doing most of the work in the deal. Again, not one size fits all. Maybe the sweat equity person, maybe their primary value add is they're a great bird dog. Maybe all they do is they find the deal, in which case the deal is going to reflect that. But in general, I think what I see out there is that you've got, when you do have that sweat equity person, their business proposition, their main value add is they say, let me take the lead on pretty much everything, and then it's up to the investor to see how comfortable they feel with letting that sweat equity partner protect their investment. And that's going to be something which, again, you got to do. I do my due diligence not only on the deal, but on my partner, and I think any prudent investor is going to do the same thing.
Sure. And talk a little bit about how folks can how they should vet out an attorney. I mean, a bit of a shameless plug. I'm sure you want everybody to contact you, but for those that are looking for an attorney, how do you know you've got a good attorney to help structure this thing?
Well, I think again, I'm going to give you an answer that is not unique or novel. I think this is what any objective party would advise. Yeah. First and foremost, I would go to their website and just try to understand what their skill sets is, what's their expertise, what space are they active in, and you can do that by just looking at their practice areas, looking at what articles they've published, look at their testimonials, look at what they've done for people. What you really don't want is somebody who dabbles in this, like say somebody is a family lawyer, and then you say, hey, I'm going to do a deal. Would you mind setting up my entity? I do litigation as well, and we have seen far too many cases end in litigation where the client was using a lawyer who this really wasn't inside their wheelhouse.
Sure.
And so first and foremost, is this You want to find somebody who has fairly significant expertise in that particular area, and then you want to take a look at testimonials. I mean, if it's social proof. It's the best way it's what I use. It's human nature. Yeah. And you want to take a look at what other clients have said about the work this lawyer has done. You want to look at how they distinguish themselves in their field. And the ways they do that is by writing articles and by being very actively involved in industry associations, such as, any association where you are recognized by your peers, whether it's being the president of the county bar or being AV rated by Martindale-Hubbell, which is peer review. That's completely peer review. AVO is the same way, and a super lawyer is completely peer review. So it's cumulative. And then you got to actually talk to that person and determine, is this somebody that I can relate to? Is this somebody who understands what my concerns, needs, objectives are, what I'm trying to accomplish? Does this person get it, and can they be efficient in getting me the result that I'm looking for? Because in this business, in law, there's a whole range of lawyers in terms of expertise and also rates. We're not the most expensive. We're not the cheapest. We like to think that we're probably we try to be as efficient as possible. Sure. So at the end of the day, we are the most affordable. And but the biggest reason that the biggest, I think, value add that we bring to the table is our aggressiveness and creativity in coming up with solutions that work for our clients. And so, to me, when I look to hire a lawyer, those are the things I look for. So those are the things I like to provide to my clients. So I think those are some of the things that you want to be thinking about when you hire a lawyer. Also, referrals, of course, referrals by your CPA or other lawyers or friends or whatever. People do that, obviously.
Yeah. So Jeff, any final kind of advice you would give folks that are looking to joint venture on deals? Some of the things that they should think about up front before they get started.
The single most important thing that I think you need to focus on if you're going to do a joint venture is to make sure that you have picked the right partner. I can draft the best document for you, but if you end up having selected somebody who is litigious, and by the way, that's part of what we do when we are walking our clients through this process. We have a whole checklist of steps that you can go through to discuss with a prospective partner 17 different issues that by the time that you're done going through that 17-step process, you have really done a thorough vetting, and you'll have a very good idea of who it is that you are going to be entering into this business marriage with. And I think, that ultimately is the single most important thing. Is if you've got the right partner, then everything else is secondary. And by the same token, if you've got the wrong partner, nothing else matters, because your life is going to be a living hell as long as you're with that partner. And so, it's when I say a business marriage, it is a business marriage, and it's a relationship that is very, very important. So that's probably the single most important thing. Yeah, and we've talked a lot about just joint ventures. We also do syndications, so that's a topic for another day, probably.
Sure. Well, Jeff, we definitely appreciate your insights and information, and thank you for being here today.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Stay in touch, and we look forward to talking to you again soon, okay?
Sounds great. Thank you.
All righty. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Are you a member of FlipNerd.com, the most robust real estate investing platform in existence, where you can find off-market wholesale deals and great vendors literally in your market? You can get access to advice from experts and learn about local clubs and events right in your backyard. If not, please visit FlipNerd.com and register for a free account. You can register in less than a minute. It's pretty much the coolest site that's ever existed in the real estate investing industry, so get on over to FlipNerd.com.